Well, since our topic is Bitcoins now or never, think we should start by asking if Bitcoins has not entered mainstream attraction like it promised to be a few years ago, will it ever?
I think it definitely will. Bitcoin, it's already entered the mainstream in terms of mind share, right? How many of you know about Bitcoin? Look at that.
Wow.
Just a year ago, 2 years ago, it was like virtual silence, the crickets chirping. So this is 2015, Bitcoin is 6 years old. And in the last 6 years, Bitcoin has come a long way. And I think in the next 6 years, Bitcoin will certainly be in the mainstream. Certainly, most and all of you will have Bitcoin or digital assets as ownership.
Will people be using it as a currency, commodity, or something else?
Bitcoin is everything. It's different things to different people. Some tax authorities, like in the US, they treat it like property for taxation purposes. It's used like a currency to pay for things. It's also used as a store of value. It's used as a trade. It trades like a stock. Bid and ask trades like a stock. It doesn't trade like a currency, but yet it's used like a currency, used like a form of payment. It's used like credit card. And it will be different things for different people. It's so new. It's so different.
What's your view on that?
I think going back to your first question, now or never, I mean, the question sounds as if there's some kind of expiry date, like Bitcoin's going to run out of funding, like a company will, or you release a couple products that don't exactly go viral, and it loses the attention of the mainstream. But Bitcoin fundamentally is a technology, so it's irrelevant that, for example, the internet had lost 90% of its value, and everyone thought there's nothing to be built for the internet in 2002, 2003. So Bitcoin is not going to be led into the mainstream by the media. So certainly the media hype has died down, and the price has come down quite a bit. But it's a protocol, it's something to be built on. And Bitcoin does not require fiat currencies to suffer from inflation. It doesn't need crisis in Greece or Cyprus. Those things are helpful for sort of a headline of saying, my money's stuck in a bank, I need some Bitcoin. But ultimately, the test of a true technology is that it can beat its rivals regardless of the state of the rivals. So for example, email did not need to take off because post offices around the world were shutting down. And ultimately, I think the use cases that we need to see in Bitcoin haven't existed because we're still in the early stages of building out the infrastructure, the exchanges, the wallets, and I think in the coming years, I agree with Bobby on that.
I want to add to that. So the reason you all know about Bitcoin, the reason we even talk about Bitcoin at Rise, the reason Bitcoin is already moderately successful, it's not because of Bitcoin, it's because what it compares to. The existing fiat money system, the existing financial system has certain flaws that Bitcoin has overcome and has solved, including the money in your pockets. Why do they have serial numbers on it? It's to create a sense of scarcity, right? Imagine if the 100 Hong Kong dollars or the 500 Hong Kong dollars in your wallets don't have serial numbers on it. Have you ever gone to a country where the money doesn't have serial number on it? It's a psychological effect to show you that it has scarcity. So Bitcoin is successful because the existing system has certain flaws with it.
I see. Now, just tapping into something you said earlier, the protocol, the technology behind it. We see a lot of financial institutions right now exploring that angle. Why do you think they would be interested in? And could you explain a little bit about blockchain, the technology?
Blockchain is great technology. Blockchain is an underlying technology, the global ledger, the decentralized ledger that allows all Bitcoin transactions to be inscribed in there. So you have this public record of every single transaction. When party A pays B, when B pays C, make payments. It's all in the blockchain. And this is revolutionary technology. It was invented 6 years ago with Bitcoin. So today, big institutions, financial institutions, even Citibank and a lot of other banks are looking into blockchain technology. This will change the way banking and finance operates in this decade and the next decade. So please stay tuned for that.
How would it change it?
It'll allow, essentially today, your bank account and records, when you make, when let's say we use ICBC, when I make a small payment to Jack in ICBC, that record is not publicly available. It's only in the ICBC system. Right? ICBC has great computers, probably IBM servers and all that, and data centers, and they record the fact that I've sent 500 RMB to Jack. No one else has a record of it. Is that good or bad? It is what it is. But with blockchain, if I ever sent Jack, will I send you 1 Bitcoin? Well, if I send him 1 Bitcoin, it'll be publicly recorded for everyone to see, and that's what blockchain technology. So imagine international transfers like SWIFT transfers that utilize blockchain technology so that the record is there permanently for everyone to see. So it's fair, it's transparent, low cost, and so on and so forth.
Any disadvantages to this technology?
For the financial institutions, yes, it'll eat into their market share for sure. Because it's an open protocol, so no longer do you have to be a participant on the SWIFT network in order to make payments. All the startups that use Bitcoin for payments, they don't have networks into the SWIFT or Visa networks. But I would say that we shouldn't be surprised about a new group of people being interested in Bitcoin. You look at 2012, you have Silk Road and those people illicit uses for Bitcoin. 2014, after the price rise, you had merchants trying to get the PR from integrating with Bitcoin for retail shopping. So Expedia, Overstock. And then this year, the new story is banks are interested. So there's no point at which this stops that you should be surprised a certain group of category of people want to use this, the network.
No, that's interesting you mention it because you said it eats into their profits. But you see banks like Citibank creating their own cryptocurrency, CitiCoin. Why would they want to do that?
I think that's a bit of a distraction. I think that's a decision for Citigroup for themselves, for their own business, for their customers. Certainly, if you run your own coin, maybe you can more transparently show your customers their assets, their holdings. It's not something that's going to be a rival to Bitcoin. The thing about Bitcoin is not, a blockchain is a ledger, but the Bitcoin blockchain is a decentralized ledger. And that's what creates this trustless network, which the Citicoin will not have, right?
Yeah.
So who would use a CitiCoin?
Citibank customers.
Citibank customers, exactly.
Yeah.
And they would have an incentive?
And it may be lowering costs for the customers, certainly. But you're not going to have developers built on top of the Citicoin network. So if you look at GitHub, the amount of code being written for Bitcoin is accelerating at an exponential rate and doubling PayPal, Visa, et cetera.
Yeah. So with the reason why Citibank and other banks are looking into technology is because it's really valuable technology. They want to stay ahead, so they want to investigate in it. So whether Citicoin or other coins succeed or fail, it will be up to the market, what the people want, right? But it's definitely good for these companies and banks to go investigate and to go do research on this technology.
How do you see the Greek financial crisis and also this market slump in China affecting Bitcoins right now?
Yeah, it's what caused a run up. I think Bitcoin prices have appreciated 10, 15, 20% in the last 2 months or so. It's a combination, the double whammy of the Greek euro crisis and also the Chinese stock market volatility. Many of you are Chinese. Maybe some of you invest in the China market. Has it been volatile? Has it been volatile, the Chinese stock market? Wow, no investors here. Probably all tech people, huh? Yeah. But some of you are from Europe, and any from Europeans? And imagine some of your euros, if they were held in a Greek bank account versus a Cyprus bank account versus a German or French bank account. If it meant different things, that would be terrible, right? In the United States, I have my bank accounts at Wells Fargo. If I banked in Nevada or California versus state of Washington, you're telling me that one bank might depreciate my US dollars? That's like unheard of, right? So this is some of the problems with the existing system. And that's why people flock to other asset classes like Bitcoin and gold.
Yeah. How has it affected your company's performance?
Well, we've seen trading volumes go back up. Obviously, it's been in steady decline since the peak of 2013. But for exchanges like BTCChina and us, OKcoin, Bitcoin is very much a speculative vehicle. So you're going to have headline risk with Greece. But I think that's still not going to have mainstream users using Bitcoin. So I think there's two parts, right? You need the speculation and the people who know what Bitcoin is to trade on the price. And then you have to create products that potentially hide Bitcoin to the background. It uses the technology. And then, so for me, sending a wire to you, I'm still sending CNY, or I'm still sending Hong Kong dollars. It's just your service is telling me it's instant, it's free, and that's going to compare better to the current system.
Right.
That's how I see
So
it.
why aren't people using it? Why is not mainstream yet?
It is already mainstream in the sense that it's going to power a lot of the underlying transfers internationally. So 2015, we're going to see more remittance services based on Bitcoin and also into next year, 2016, where essentially when people make payments internationally, maybe most of it goes on the Bitcoin rail and you wouldn't even know about it. So for Bitcoin to be successful, it doesn't have to be in your own hands. It could be Bitcoin could be successful with transfers between accounts, with transfer between things. Imagine a future where there's Internet of Things, where all devices are connected. What if devices itself made payments? What if your home router or your home smart TV were making payments to the network to essentially shut down or ignore the ads? Right? If you want to fast forward commercials, you could do that. Imagine your home devices doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. We're running low on time, so just one final question. Sure. All the scenarios that you just pictured, they're all wonderful, but when do you see policy regulators actually catching up on these visions and actually allowing this to happen?
It will happen for sure. Remember one thing, people always ask me, oh, will Bitcoin ever be legal or will Bitcoin ever be illegal? And I never worry about it. Yeah. Because if Bitcoin is not useful, no one will use it, the point is moot. If Bitcoin becomes useful and if all of you use it, what do you think? Of course it will be legal. Because the sequence is that the law is created by governments, which is appointed by the people. That's why the law governs the people. But the order is very clear. We as people demand certain things, we want to use it or not. And then the law will follow afterwards.
Do you share the same
I
view?
agree, and empirically the evidence is showing that. So in 2013, when Bitcoin first hit the mainstream, you had different governments saying, this is not good, we want to ban this, or be very cautious. And for example, Russia, quote unquote, banned Bitcoin, and then last month, Vladimir Putin made his first comments about Bitcoin, saying that it's a technology, he's interested in seeing how it plays out. So I think rather than a global clampdown on Bitcoin, I think you're going to see more and more governments looking at making their financial system easier, embracing the technology. And obviously, if you're custodian of coins, I think you have to be balanced. If you're custodian of people's money, you have to follow certain regulations. I think that's fair.
The biggest challenge to Bitcoin is actually education. I hope all of you in the audience over the next 6 months, 12 months, get to learn more about Bitcoin and find your own use cases for Bitcoin. And when that happens, Bitcoin will be more legitimate, will be more useful, and will flourish worldwide.
This was very great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.